Okay, so the stomach. The stomach's functions: store food, start digesting proteins, and it's going to control how the chyme, the food with the stomach contents, it's going to control how that goes into your small intestines. So they say it's J-shaped. It's really got thick muscular wall. So it's like a muscular sac. There's 3 layers of muscle in the muscularis layer. Okay, so remember normally there were 2. This has 3. Okay, so they're going to help with mechanical digestion. Okay, the mucosa layer has these wrinkles in it, and the wrinkles are called rugae. And then there's also things in there called gastric pits, and the gastric pits are what's going to make the gastric juices. Okay, now the gastric juice. Gastric juice contains pepsin, and pepsin's an enzyme that's going to break down protein. Okay, so if you think like Pepsid, Pepto-Bismol, pepsin. Pepsin breaks down proteins. Okay, it also has hydrochloric acid in it, and it's got mucus in it. So the mucus is going to help protect the stomach, so it doesn't, so that the acids don't break it down. Okay, now HCl, that just stands for hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid gives the stomach a really low pH, so about 2. Okay, and that low pH is going to make the pepsin active, and it's going to help protect us from pathogens. Okay, there are disorders of the stomach. One is, and I don't know why this is kind of stuck in the middle. Okay, one is called Helicobacter pylori. Okay, and it can actually, that's the cause of ulcers. Okay, now the stomach is going to take the chyme and it's going to dump it into the small intestine, and it just dumps it in a little bit at a time, like 5 to 10 milliliters at a time. Okay, so here's the stomach. Okay, so things that are important. Okay, so there's the esophagus coming in. Okay, there's the top part of it. Okay, there's the muscle right here, the lower gastroesophageal sphincter. Okay, 3 layers of muscle, so it can squeeze the food and break it up into little tiny pieces. The wrinkles, okay, those are the rugae. Okay, so when your stomach's really full, the rugae are all stretched out. When it's really empty, it's real wrinkly. Gastric pits, okay, those are what has the cells in it that secrete the gastric juice. Okay, and here's the pyloric sphincter. So this sphincter is going to control how the food goes from the stomach down into the small intestines. Okay, now the small intestine, so it's 18 feet long. Okay, so even though the diameter is really small, it's really, really long, so it provides lots of surface area. Okay, now what's going to happen is lots of different things are going to dump into the small intestines. So the pancreas makes enzymes that are going to dump into the small intestines. They're going to break down carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Bile that comes from the gallbladder is going to be dumped into the small intestine. It's going to help us break down fats. Okay, the small intestine is how we're going to absorb digested food. So there's villi and microvilli in there. I'll show you in a second what they look like. Okay, amino acids and sugars are going to go from the small intestine into capillaries, into blood vessels, but fats and glycerol are going to go into lymph vessels, which are called lacteals, and we talked about those last chapter. Okay, so here's anatomy of the small intestine. So in there are villi, and villi are kind of like fingers. Okay, so this is a villus, and then on those there are microvilli. So that some people say that if you touch the intestines of something, that it would feel like velvet, because there's so much surface area and so many microvilli.